I don't understand some people around the old school tabletop role playing game community. It's like, it'd probably be fun to have me on your stream. But if you're insecure and, well, you act like I'm a laughing stock around the community, it's like, well, I'm interesting. I'm not boring. It'd be fun. I have a lot to say. I'm a talking machine. You don't have to worry about dead air, and likely if you have me on your stream, it's going to be interesting. You may get touchy that I seem to be opposed to miniature gameplay, because I know a lot of old school guys love their miniatures, and I'm like, it's true. I like pure theater of the mind, but I poke at people just a bit. I ran games using miniatures for people who prefer miniature gameplay. So, I'm not as opposed to it as you think. I prefer a certain style of game. I'm not out here telling you how to play or going to your table and saying, oh, get rid of the miniatures. But I don't mind poking fun at people that are really sensitive about the topic. Some of the old school guys will sit out there and say that I'm fake and I'm phony, and I'm like, well, listen to me talk on my videos or on my streams. I have wisdom you don't just have if you're full of shit. It's not like something AI can teach me. I know these things, and there's a reason I know deep things. Here, I'll give you an example. Old school Dungeons and Dragons, right? Is combat a core focus of that game? No, it's survival. I want you to think about balance. Like, you might think you're collecting most of your experience from combat, but really, no, you're meant to avoid it. There's a reason why gold, XP, are important to the game. Because really, you're going in there to get treasure, right? And that XP is really to grow your levels. Especially if you avoid a lot of combat, it's survival. And you do get experience for avoiding combat. Because it's survival. Right? Am I wrong? You're meant to avoid combat. It's like, if there is some strong monsters guarding a door to a bunch of treasure, are you meant to fight and get in the room? Or are you meant to, either avoid the treasure and the monsters and move on? That might be wise. Or sneak into the room and get treasure. And are you supposed to come up with bucket loads of treasure? No, right? There's a reason things balance out. You're meant to avoid a lot. So there's a good chance you won't get bucket loads. But look at what people make in the towns or cities. You'll realize, a pocket full of gold is going to be more than what most people make in like a year or 2 years. So that treasure is actually really, really valuable. And you might notice that there's certain items that seem to cost a lot. Yeah, but that's because regular citizens aren't buying those. People, the adventurers with money, are purchasing that. But realistically, a lot of goods in a town are cheap. Like if you have 10 gold, you're doing pretty well. Are you meant to fight the dragon at the bottom of the dungeon, if there is one, some unrealistic way? No. You're meant to avoid the dragon, but there's treasure there. You can't get it all, but man, there's a lot there. So you could fill your pockets up and maybe get a few magic items. But again, you're there to avoid a lot. That's why you're not meant to have a bunch of treasure. But guess what? It adds up and gives you levels, right? Especially if you're avoiding the combat like you should. See, if you really look at the old wargaming roots of D&D, you realize combat's not a major focus. You might think in war games, combat's a big thing, but no. The mind game, the strategy is the core of the game. Combat is the end result. And even how you do that is unique, right? Like I play the Imperial Guard when I play Warhammer, right? So I can't be brutish. I can't go out there and just fight and win. But I can lose battles, draw out stronger enemies, and then shoot them down, right? It's okay to lose. It's more about strategy and mind games. And you see wargamer games like a Traveler. That's made by a wargamer. But combat's like a punishment. If you get in combat in that game, well, you're pretty much doing something wrong. And realistically, in D&D, if you're in a lot of combat in old school, you're making a major mistake. The game wants you to avoid combat as much as possible. Realistically, a party going into a dungeon, if they get maybe one encounter or none, that's a really good group of D&D players. They're meant to avoid, get in there, sneak around, avoid combat, get around traps, right? And get treasure and get out and survive. Even at higher levels, there's many ways to gather XP without combat. And you might think the game is broken when you look at combat at higher levels. Wait, you're not supposed to be in a lot of combat to begin with. Higher level gaming in old school D&D works fine. When you start thinking that you really start controlling where you put your time and energy. Well, now you can be a hero. You can go fight the dragon who's attacking the town. Save the people. But you don't go fighting everything. You can get more treasure now. You can get better magic items. There's all kinds of ways to progress. And progression at higher levels is meant to be slower. So it's okay to be at a higher level for a long time before you move on to the next. You get more picky. The game is not broken. Combat is meant to be unbalanced and crazy from level 1 right up to level 20. You don't just guess this stuff as a D&D person. It takes some time to really know. You know, a lot of people that play D&D don't read everything. They don't understand everything. They don't get the designers. But the designer, well, mainly if you look at Gary and his mindset, he was a wargamer. And how I really picked up a lot of wisdom was going from not just doing D&D, but to gaming with wargamers. When I started realizing, man, this game is a lot less about combat and more about the mind game. You know, it's the treasure and the monsters might be taunting the characters, right? Oh, here's a fight, here's treasure. But really, the good strategy is to avoid it and survive. That's taunting. Or maybe I didn't come up as a DM. I have not come up with a good way for you to get in and get that treasure. I haven't even thought of one. Because the idea is I'm taunting you. You're meant to move on. But if you really want to go against the DM, because this is really how the game is, DM versus players, is you overcome the situation by figuring out a way into the room in some stealthy way, avoid the combat and get the treasure. And I'm like, oh man, it's not like I even planned that out. It was taunting you, but you have out-thought me, right? You have out-thought the situation. The DM versus player thing isn't combat focused, it's a mind game. You know, I look at what WotC did with D&D and I'm not mad at them. To a degree, I somewhat understand it. Like, I look at it like this. Like, what do they see? A lot of people not really playing D&D correctly. If you go back to old school, when I say not correctly, at least not what the intended way was supposed to be. When you go back to old school, you'd see a lot of games where most of the combat is there for you to fight, right? And a lot of players would go into the fights. That was a lot of old school games, no matter what we think. Even if there's a minority of us who know better, the reality was, if you were actually back in the era, people were in the combat, and combat was a big part of the game. Actually, a lot of guys that think they're wise about D&D now thought that that's how you level up characters, is the combat. And they even oppose gold as XP, and I'm like, no, the treasure, the gaining treasure and surviving is how you level. So you can actually avoid the combat and get the gold. Magical weapons in here is meant to be hard to get at lower levels. But when you do get them, you'll realize there's like crap loads of experience you get for a magic item. Well, it's really made more for the higher level characters who need more experience. So on top of getting gold, which they can get more now at higher levels, on top of that experience points, they'll also get more magic items. Easier, accessible, because they're more capable, right? And so when you get to higher levels is when you finally can be the hero. The idea is you're starting off at level 1 as a nobody. That's what you are in D&D. You're not a somebody yet, but you'll be a somebody if you get there. You start off as a nobody. You drag through the mud in a dungeon. You, over time, go from nobody to higher level somebody. And that's when you finally play or the potential hero in old school D&D. You're more capable of getting out there with the magic items you've gotten at higher levels and whatnot to be able to handle a dragon in combat. Now you can go save people. Imagine hearing a bunch of people that don't understand D&D saying higher level gaming is broken because they think combat. They just don't know how the game is meant to work, right? You can just tell it's never been broken. You can play up to level 20, easy breathing here, if you understand what the actual game is, that you're meant to avoid most combat. And it's actually okay that you linger on at certain levels for a period of time. Experience the level, experience what that's about. So progression is not meant to be like some speed racer gimmick. They'll say that I'm using AI to cover all these games and streams, and I'm like, well, listen to the opinions outside of whatever I've written down, right? For it. It's not AI. I go deep into it. What I've learned from different games, because either I played them or ran them, I take back to D&D because I did D&D the most. But see, real old school era guys don't think I'm lying or bullshitting at all. You want to know why? It was common for a bunch of old school people to try a bunch of games because there was more games. Everyone tried them. So when I talk to real old school era guys, not a lot of guys that say they're old school now, they're like, yeah, we believe you that you did like 50 games. I'm like, yeah, I know, right? But the people that sort of came into the game late, or maybe they were secluded at home or had just a lack of experience in the hobby, they'll think I'm lying. But the people that were really active in the old school, man, they always know I'm telling the truth, right? They can hear it. Like, I took pressure from Traveller, the pressures, and instead of creating plots for D&D, for sandboxing, I realized you could put the pressures in, and then you build the plots up during gameplay, during what you see and what the players do in the sandbox. If you understand what I'm saying, that should all make sense to you, because that's what you do in Traveller. You don't put a plot in initially, you put pressures in, and then you build the plots off what's happening, what you see, what goes together, and what the players do. You learn things from different games, and that's what I did, and I took a lot of that back to Dungeons and Dragons. And the gimmicks would work. Spotlighting is very important in D&D. Well, at least they talk about it now. But back in the old school era, the idea of spotlight wasn't even talked about, right? How did I learn about spotlight being important? Well, I went and ran games like DC Heroes, Villains and Vigilantes, and what you learn there is spotlight is important, especially if you want to balance out the game. Like, you got a stronger character here and a weaker character here. But with spotlight means you create activities for the weaker character and you give them time, so they become important even if they're weaker. And with creative players, they can take their what seems like weaker characters and do some amazing things, even to the point of being more effective in the group than the stronger character. I took that to D&D. Create situations where, oh, this guy's stronger, but doesn't matter. There's things I would create for the what might seem like the weaker characters to do, and then I spread spotlight around, and it becomes where everyone sort of equals out. They find their way. If you just randomly run D&D, the fighter might be kicking ass, this character might not be doing much, but with the spotlight method from, Villains and Vigilantes and DC Heroes and stuff like that, if you take that gimmick to D&D, it works. You don't pick up this wisdom from AI, and you don't pick up this wisdom from not doing these things. So I know a lot, and I've done a lot of gaming over the years, right? It's a shame that most guys have to have conflict because they'll have their big attack to, I guess, grow or whatever off of my name, and then I go see them just calmly talk. It's like, why do you guys have to see the world the way you do? And here's my problem. A lot of nerds, to grow or be content creators on here, they'll be very conflicting, but they do something that their nerd rage doesn't it doesn't go well. They don't think long term. They say unforgivable things. And when I say unforgivable, means they say things where they have to make a public apology for that thing to be let go. Like, it's that extreme, right? Where it's like, dude, if you calm down in a few months or a year, I can't just talk to you. You have said something so outrageous, or you've told a lie so outrageous, that without the public apology, I can't sweep that under the rug. Not if I have any self-respect. I have to hold that over your head. I mean, for the rest of your life until you give me an apology. So that's like unforgivable. That is outright unforgivable. They'll say it in the short term because it makes them feel good, but they don't think long term. Also, when people attack me on here, I don't think they think too much about it. It's like, this is content world. If you attack me this week, it probably won't stick. Like, it will be gone in a week, and I'll be completely fine. And I go after a unique audience, so they're not affected by what you're saying. What happens to some guys on here, they'll say stuff about me to people that already don't like me. It's a bubble. It's an echo chamber. That doesn't reach out. And for them to maintain pressure on me, if they're having any pressure at all, they have to lie this week, lie next week, lie the week after. And at any point, if they stop, that goes away in 4 days, maybe a week at most. It holds up, and then they're bored. Even they don't seem to, keep up on it. They get bored of their own drama because they think in the short term it's all nerd rage, and then they calm down, and that all goes away. It's funny. Guys will say things unforgivable, and then the next week, if I said, "Hey, you want to stream?" they'd be like, "Okay," and I'm like, "You fucking idiot! I'm trolling. I might be trolling you if I were to actually do that, because it's like, no. Do you know what you just did? I can't stream with you casually. You have to come out and make a major public apology in detail about what you did." But nerds on here, old nerds, can be very antisocial, socially unaware, and they don't know. It's a shame, because I'm a lot of fun. I really am. And if you get me on your stream, I'm an exciting guy. But if you gotta, here's what's worse. I go on streams, and then guys either want to get their nerd rage out on me, or they gotta bring me down. I'm like, dude, how does that benefit? If I'm good for the stream, and other YouTubers could calm down, if I bring more people watching and being excited, all boats rise. That's a benefit to all of us. If I can help make better content with everyone. If I ask for interviews, the second I ask somebody for an interview and they consider it, they'll get heat from all these other YouTubers. I'm like, but wait, if I'm doing good content and that spikes up and gets people excited and watching, all boats rise, right? But if you're only about yourselves, then you're selfish. And I'll notice these guys, they don't care about other boats rising. It's all ego and selfishness. I'm like, what I try to do with the interviews is bring other people up. I'm willing to go on streams, or I have been, where it's about bringing other people up. Because to me, I think if I got talent for anything, take advantage. Don't, you gotta bring me down to your level. No. Take advantage. Because if I go on a stream, it's exciting. What if I come back on? What if I do it again? What if I do more? If it's exciting here, don't you want me to go on your stream too? So if I do really well, and I bring something to the table, well, if you notice it, instead of getting mad, don't you want me on your stream? And guess what? See, in the past, I've been telling people, if I go have a hot stream, I'm willing to go on yours. And you get a lot more in the long run from me in positive growth and subs if you're positive with me. In the short term, you attack me for a while, and that degrades, and you're talking to an echo chamber. So you're getting hot with an echo chamber, but it's not much growth. It's not really good. All boats don't rise. You're selfish. I have a lot of wisdom to share and a lot of knowledge. What I'm doing now is sharing it with my own people, my own audience. But it keeps me separate away from people. I know a lot of the old school audience probably does enjoy my streams, or at least would if they weren't so nerd rage angry. Because I talk about things they like, and I understand things in a way that they would too, right? Where they could relate. And I think I'm pretty exciting when I want to be, and The more people around, it spikes me up. I get going. I'd be good. But hey, if you're insecure and you don't like that I have something to offer, and in your mind you got to bring me down and go, oh, he's a laughing stock, when I know in reality you're just mad. I'm not a laughing stock. You're just angry. That's on you, dude. You're just angry. So you paint a false picture of who I am, but in reality it's not me. And when people don't buy your false picture, they see the truth. That's how it works. That's why everyone outside of your echo chamber doesn't see what you see. Right? If I am the person you say I am, that means people that are not part of your circle would see the same thing. They don't. That's an issue. That just tells you what you're seeing is part of an echo chamber of insecurity. Right? If not, the wider audience would see all the same things if it were true. That's how you know for sure it would be true what you think. Instead, it's just an echo chamber that sees me this way. And when you extend out to people that aren't part of your echo chamber, none of them view me this way. At all. Not even slightly. There's nobody out there going, man, he's just his own worst enemy. No, that's just echo chamber insecurity speaking. Right? You, in reality, are your own worst enemy. And you cut off a good thing that could help you. You're your own worst enemy. That's how it works. I could help, but you cut me off. And it doesn't hurt me, because I've given up on trying to attract a certain echo chamber to my channel. And there's a bigger audience out there, so I'm going after them, and it works. And they enjoy the wisdom. They enjoy the streams, right? And they buy it because they listen to me, so they know it's not me just making shit up. You can't know what I know and get that from an AI. That takes time. It takes lots of gaming. It takes really a deep understanding of these games. And when you stop and listen to my streams and actually listen to me, like honestly, you'll realize I have real wisdom, because I've really done what I said I've done. You gotta wake up, right? Stop acting like I'm the one with the problem and I have to come around. Because in reality, you're the one with the problem, and you gotta come around. I'm done kissing your ass. So the door could always be open, but it's you that will decide if the door is open. Continuously attacking me, you don't get my attention that way. And you don't stop me, if you've noticed, at all. Like claiming lies about me. Oh, you're buying an audience. Well, tell that to the audience. They won't tell you that I paid them to be here. I haven't. I've earned all the people that are on my channel the hard way. Doing good content, being entertaining, being interesting. That's it. I've earned it. And the reason I can earn it is people outside of your echo chamber that don't have your biased mindset, they see and hear something different than you. Yeah, that's all. I have credibility with people that aren't living in a fucking delusion. It's a shame some people out there live in a delusion. Okay, yeah. I'll be putting out another video at least about stories, about, I don't know, I think about traps and puzzles coming up, about just players I've had over the years and how they've dealt with them, and people like my recent one with 2nd edition of monsters, like the bullywugs and all that, and I talked to guys on the stream tonight and they want to hear some more about, stuff like that, and even character arcs, like, who are some players that played up like from level 1 to level 20 and what was that like? I'm going to try to do more of that, right? For sure. I'll be putting out something tomorrow. Okay, I love you. Talk to you then.